and welcome to another episode of Around the House with Gran. Today, we're back in the kitchen for our first part, so remember, what's the first thing we need to do? You're right, wash our hands. Some of you have asked me about this neat little kitchen boa that I have that I used last week and I use most times when I'm cooking. A dear friend made me this for Christmas last year, and I had really thought about having a segment on how to make them. But we decided that for right now we're not going to do that, but if you'd like to know, you can email me or you can comment, and I'll be happy to walk you through it. Today we're going to make cinnamon twist. The ingredients you're going to need today are a can of biscuits, just a cheap can, not Gran biscuits, not Pillsbury, just the cheapest can of biscuits you can find, about a half a cup of cinnamon sugar, and about a third of a cup of melted butter. We're going to open the biscuits. Remember, we preset our oven to 375. So it's heating and will be all ready for us once we get everything mixed up. We're going to use the spoon again to open the can of biscuits. Like I told you last week, works every time. All right, we're going to turn all these biscuits out here on our mat. Remember, you don't have to use a mat, but it makes for easy cleanup. We're going to cut 2 or 3 of them in half, and we're going to leave some of them whole. So we're going to start with the halves. Going to do that one, doesn't have to be exact. We're going to kind of stretch them and pull them a little bit, and we're going to dip them in the butter. Make sure all sides get in the butter. And then we're going to go over to the cinnamon sugar and kind of press it in there to make sure it sticks real good. And then we're going to twist them. And you can twist them as much or as little as you want to, and put them right there on your baking sheet. When I was growing up, my grandmother lived with us, and she and my mother did all the cooking. So I wasn't really allowed to be in the kitchen very much, but occasionally, if my mother went to town and my grandmother was taking a nap, I would go in the kitchen and try to think up some concoction to make. And one day, my brother and sister were complaining that they were hungry and they wished they had a snack. So I looked in the refrigerator and I saw that we did in fact have some canned biscuits and we did have some cinnamon sugar. And so I decided that I would make these cinnamon twist. My brother and sister loved them, I loved them, and I didn't get in trouble because I didn't waste anything that day. That was the big deal. I wasn't allowed to cook because it was going to be wasteful, probably. And then when I had children of my own, I taught them to make them. Now we're going to do 1 or 2 with the whole biscuit. So really stretch it out, dip it in the butter, bring it over here, make sure you have plenty of cinnamon sugar on it, and then twist, twist, twist. We're going to lay these long ways since they're a little bit longer, and they can be there on the side. But you've got to stretch those biscuits because you want the butter to get all through it, so you've got the cinnamon sugar all through it. Anyway, after I made them that day, they kind of became a staple. I was allowed to cook that then from then on because it had turned out okay. And still, a few weeks ago, I made these just as a little afternoon snack. When we finish here and put these in the oven, we're going to move over to the table, and we're going to talk about table settings, how to properly set a table. I think we've really grown away from that with our busy lifestyles. hope you're all thinking of fun things to do and staying safe inside your houses, or at least social distancing during this time. You know, in some ways, it's brought about some really good stuff. We went out last week and bought me a bicycle. I don't know that I had ridden a bicycle in years. In fact, one of my granddaughters asked if I even knew how to ride a bicycle. But my husband and I have been going riding each evening after dinner. And it's just fun. There's so many people in our neighborhood who are out riding or walking. Okay, as you see, your hands are going to get a little bit messy, but that's okay. Messy's fine. I am going to wash them before I go over to the table. All right, we're going to put these in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. I'll probably set the timer on 9 minutes and check them at 8. Here's what they look like before they go in the oven. Okay, let's go over here to the table now. When I was teaching high school in Louisiana, a young man came by my room one day and said that he had been selected to go to the National FFA Convention in Washington, D.C. And of course I congratulated him and told him how wonderful that was. But he told me he was really scared about one thing. Well, I knew I couldn't help him about raising cows or hogs or sheep. So I was interested to find out what he needed me to help him with. His dilemma was that there was a formal dinner one night at the convention, and he had no idea, in his words, what all those forks and spoons were for. He said, at my house, we grab a plate, we grab a fork, we get our food, and we eat. And I don't know what all that stuff is for. So we had a little lesson that afternoon, and the next day he came back again, and we went over it again. When he came home from the convention, not only had he excelled, but he was so pleased because he said, I was one of the only ones there who knew what all that stuff was for. So even if you only need it once in your lifetime, it's valuable to have. So if you'd like to look over my shoulder now, I'm going to show you the proper way to set a table. I'm going to start with a charger plate. A charger plate is something that honestly I only use when I'm having company or it's a special holiday and I want the table to be extra pretty. But it's kind of a nice thing if you're going to use multiple dishes because it stays on the table until the meal is finished. The next thing that goes down then is your regular dinner plate. And you see it just kind of forms a little rim around that and it just looks nice. So if we were having a menu where we were going to have a salad separate from our meal, then we would have a salad plate. You could put the salad plate to the side, or what lots of times people do is they put the salad plate in the middle of the dinner plate because you're going to eat the salad and then that plate's going to be taken away. A bread plate always goes over here. If you've ever been somewhere and you're sitting around a table and everyone is trying to figure out, is that my bread plate or is that her bread plate? Is that my water glass or is that her water glass? One easy way to remember is B and D. B is for bread, D is for drink. B and D. So when you're out somewhere or you're at a formal dinner and you're wondering which is yours, do the B and D. We were on a cruise not long ago and one of the adults at our table was saying, I don't know which bread plate is mine. And I said the little B and D thing, and she was like, I've never thought of that before. But just remember, B and D, bread and drink. Okay, now we're going to start putting our flatware, our silverware. Your knife, you always want the blade of the knife to go towards the plate, and the knife always goes on the right side of the plate. If you're left-handed, it still goes on the right side of the plate. If you're right-handed, it still goes on the right side of the plate. Your regular dinner fork goes right here on the left side of the plate. You'd like for these things to be kind of even down here, but that's just for looks. That doesn't have anything to do with purpose. Next, your regular little teaspoon goes just beside the knife. That would be like the regular place setting. If you took the salad plate off and said, okay, we're not going to have bread plate, we're not going to have salad plate, we're just going to have a meal, but I am going to use a charger plate, then you would be ready for dinner right here. But in this case, we are going to have a salad plate and we are going to have a bread plate. We're going to put our salad fork right over here because all the forks go on the left, the spoons go on the right until we get to dessert. If you said, I think I'm going to add a shrimp cocktail or a little bowl of fruit or something like that for an appetizer, then that little fork would go yet over here. For dessert, let's say that we're having pie and ice cream. So we would need a fork for our pie and a spoon for our ice cream. And those two would go right there. If you were only having pie, then you could put just the fork there. If you were only having a dish of ice cream, you could put just the spoon there. But if you're needing both, you can put them both right there. Now you're probably thinking, what about the napkin? Where does the napkin go? So often people put the napkin under the fork. If you put the napkin over here under your fork, what happens? The first thing you have to do is pick up your fork. No, the first thing you pick up should be your napkin. Sometimes people put the napkin in the center of the plate like that. Still, the first thing you do is pick up the napkin. If you have room on your table, you can put the napkin right over here because still it's going to be the first thing you pick up. When you're looking at this, if we were having soup and you added a soup spoon over here, you always work from the outside in. So whatever is the first utensil, whatever dish is served first, that's what you're going to use on it. And then when it gets to the salad, you're at your second one. But your napkin will always come first. Your napkin should go with the fold towards the plate, with the open edges over here. And this would work with a paper napkin as well. Lots of people don't use cloth napkins. We do about half the time, and about half the time we use paper napkins. You pick it up like this, and if you look, it just falls open. And now you're ready that you can put it in your lap. That's why, if you're using this kind of a fold and placement, you want that open edge over here on the side and the fold there so that when you pick it up, it opens for you. And there you have a perfect place setting. If you have questions about any of this, if you have comments, go to the link website and put your comments and your questions there. I'll be happy to answer anything that you have or I'd welcome any comment that you might have about this. Remember, your glass goes here. D, B. Okay, let's move back to the kitchen. It looks like the timer only has a couple of minutes left, and let's see if our cinnamon twists are just about ready. Next week in our segment, we're going to be doing something special for Mother's Day. So be on the lookout for it. We're going to do some special folds with napkins so that if you wanted to do breakfast in bed for mom, you know now how to put all the dishes in the silverware. And we're going to be doing something, I'll just tell you, it involves strawberries and chocolate. All right, I think they're done. We need to let them cool just a little bit before we take them off the rack. So let them cool for probably 5 to 10 minutes, and then you're ready for your snack. Cinnamon twist.